So, I recently watched the movie, The Tenet, by Roman Polanski, and The Tenet is it's about it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I will start with that. It's about a guy who moves into, I think, France it was, and as he moved in, looking for an apartment. He was looking for an apartment. I guess it was difficult, and he found one. And it's really good because even from the beginning, the lady at the front desk, she's giving him a hard time, kind of showing that it's been a hard time for him to find an apartment. So anyways, she shows him the apartment, and it looks decent. The building looks very nice. And he's like, a lot of her belongings are still here. Like, is she gonna take them? Did she leave them? She's like, oh, she's in the hospital right now. He's like, what? I thought this place was available. She's like, yeah, it's available. I don't think she'll make it. And it turned out she had jumped from her window. So in desperation, the guy, since he's in desperation for an apartment, he's still looking to accept the apartment. Even with the incredible price that they want for it. I think they want him to put like $4,000 down or $2,000 down. And this is a 1970 something movie, so it was like real money they wanted him to put down. But yeah, so in doing so, he's like, let me check on this woman and make sure she's died before I give them this money for this apartment. So he goes to the hospital and checks up on her, bumping into a friend of hers, where he has to pretend that he knows her, just to keep his cover safe. To where she meets her, and she's fully wrapped in like that old school, like casting, like a mummy, and she screams and then dies. And that's his only interaction with her. So he then proceeds to live in the hotel, which is not a good time for him. I mean, sorry, not the hotel. He proceeds to live in the apartment, which is not a good time for him. And it seems like he's, along with not getting along with his neighbors, it seems like he's filled with guilt for almost as if what he did, even though he didn't technically do anything to her, he didn't push her out the window. He may have crossed boundaries within accepting the apartment before she's actually gone. And so throughout the movie, we follow him. And it's almost like he's not really himself. And we don't know him, so we don't know if he's himself. But when I say not himself, it's like he's playing a character almost. As in, he has this weight of what happened, of what took place, but he's trying to not only act as a normal a normal pedestrian, he's also trying to keep face with the friend that he met at the hospital by continue to pretend like he knew her, and continue to pretend like he's also a foreigner. He's from Poland while he's in France. So he's also trying to keep with the customs of them. And then you see him making a lot of and throughout the movie you see him conforming a lot. From his way to their way. He has a certain cigarette that he likes, but everywhere he goes they only have Marlboros, so he used to start smoking Marlboros. His neighbors want him to be quiet, so he becomes more quiet. At the beginning of the film, he was very strong in his negotiation and stuff, and he slowly loses that. He's very passive with the girl he meets, and I think what they're trying to play at is when you're playing a role, since you're not yourself, you can't be firm, you can't be a man, you can't be strong, because you're trying to almost perform in a passive role, because you're trying to pass by without being noticed or without being criticized or whatever case may seem. And then in the movie, there was a book that was showed. It was called, I forget the French name, but in American, I almost said American. In English, it was called The Romance of the Mummy. And it's taken, it's a story I read, I went and found it. Subscribe. So the book featured in the Tenet was Romance of a Mummy. And in Romance of a Mummy, it followed a pharaoh's wife. She was the daughter of the previous pharaoh, Tahusi, I think it was. Actually, I'm not even gonna say names because I'm gonna get confused. And then she's it was very detailed, and if when it describes the characters such as the pharaoh's wife and the pharaoh and the slaves, and even the setting of Egypt and the different homes, it describes everything as a role. It describes the placement of and the use of each of these things. When it describes, before you even get into the character of the pharaoh's wife, we're talking about her, what she's surrounded by, and the role of her slaves, the role of her musicians, and we get to her favorite slave. When she's sad while listening to the music, her slave, she comes and she presents questions of why she's sad and reasons why she shouldn't be, because her position and her high status. And then we get this dialogue where it's narrated and it has inserts of explanation saying that the slave didn't understand the real reason of her sadness. Instead, the slave is saying all these terms as in, you have these gardens, you have this power, and reflecting what you should say or what she should be proud of, and neglecting what really is inside of her. And then to mirror that, it goes to the pharaoh when he comes back from battle and has this big party, and he's upset still, and he's not really, well, I want to say, he's not flattered by the guests and the women and the food and the party. And his favorite, maybe slave or general or whoever was under him, comes up to him and he says the truth. I know what you really want. You want Tahusi by your side, whatever, and puts a smile on his face. And it's also mirroring the almost the status, not the status, but the role of the different slaves or the different order based on sex, and how the pharaoh's wife, the role of her favorite slave was to disregard what she truly feels and act like she has a place for herself and her thoughts, and let her be, I guess, almost let her lie in a way. But the role of the pharaoh's underling was to actually present him with the truth of what he really desires, and that made him happy. And this mirroring goes back to the movie, because in Tenet, as the main character is conforming, he starts cross-dressing as a woman, almost showing the femininity that comes from conforming and not being direct and yeah. Ooh. And in this conformity and femininity that we see as a theme, and I won't spoil the ending of the Tenet for you because it's actually pretty crazy. It was actually, personally, it was funny. So go see it. You can find it. But in this topic of conformity leading to femininity, we can kind of see the argument that Mackie, what's his first name? Captain America. I forgot his name. Something Mackie. I'll fill it in. Had in his argument when he said they're trying to kill masculinity, and what he's saying is they're trying to promote conformity. And it can be either disguised as maybe progressiveness or unity or neo-liberalism, or I don't know, a lot of different words I hear all the time. But I think he's saying that the masculinity that we're missing is standing on principles, and then letting those principles that you stand on influence your surroundings. And I think his comment was saying they don't want you to influence, they want you to be subdued so that you can be controlled, and the powers that be have free reign without any resistance. And that's kind of what you see here. Even in the movie The Tenet, they have like they mirror the main character with he's Polish, he's in France, but they have a character that almost resembles America. He's white with blonde hair, and he's very loud, boisterous. And they go to his apartment, and he doesn't care if they want him to be quiet. He wants to play his music, he plays his music. He wants to speak to his friends, he speaks to his friends. And while that can be a shallow representation, I think that's the premise. It might not be comfortable for other people around you, but there's a value in standing in who you are and what you believe in. And yeah, I think that's all I have today. Pretty good movie, pretty good book. So The Tenet, Romance of a Mummy, Captain America, all good things. See you next time.